actually when Judy was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked
Saw her,
her to please.
her and your dad at
I should have done shot.
next thing I know, I'm talking to her about moving.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's what I said. I was like, Mom, this house is so much everything he said he was. And the other guy, and I was like, go make it. I mean, not really, but kind of. I was like, go make it work. Make all of it work.
You sent that to him?
It's an interesting system. I got somebody working for they are landscaping. They need a bigger building. And they need to know where it is. If you ever come, if you got land,
Some of them was back. Maybe we should.
Logan must have dropped the annexation.
Yeah, but we're not.
I ran over several times, didn't matter.
Yeah, that's right. Get it airborne.
everything to be there. Except the one to be
Oh, make it looking bad. The movie is in.
Oh, the hips family?
No, that's like, that's my neighbor. This is.
The master, you got the long masters. It's the hips. It's called the hips. And they got hips. But the people that I know, they're in the master. So if they, he's reaching out to me, that's like, they got to say,
Garbage, you know, we got dogs.
So we went in and we took to remove something from the overlay.
But ironically,
So it's funny, because I've had to do that I will.
Oh, yeah.
Mom was, she was a friend's house.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 p.m. and we'd like to begin this meeting on time. I'd like to welcome each of you to the July 22nd Planning Commission meeting for the City of Social Circle. We do have a packed house. We have 5 public hearings on the agenda tonight. I ask of you to have some patience with us as we go through each of the items. We do have some rules that we will read out here shortly. But before we do that, for a roll call, I'd like for the record to reflect that all members of the Planning Commission are present. The Planning Commission meeting minutes from June 24th, we've all had an opportunity up here to review those. Are there any corrections that need to be noted? If so, please bring them to our attention. If not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve those minutes as published.
Make a motion to approve the minutes, but I second it.
We have a motion made by Adolphus, made by Glenda. All those in favor signify by raising your hands. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Now, as I stated, we do have 5 public hearings on our agenda tonight. Ashley, do you have the rules of the public hearing you can play for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
Before we begin this evening, I want to just hit the highlights of the regulations that need to be considered during this meeting. Foremost, for the record to reflect any speakers who wish to respond for or against the application of any item on the agenda, each speaker must sign up to register their intent. If you do not register prior to the commencement of this meeting, you will not be called upon, and you will not be allowed to speak. Each item shall be handled in the order of the published agenda. However, upon motion of the commission, it is possible that the order of the agenda may be changed. Therefore, it is recommended all interested persons remain at the meeting in the event of a change in the order of the agenda. As each agenda item is brought forth, the city staff will present the application, the background of the property involved, and provide a recommendation. After the staff has presented the application, the applicant or applicant's agent will give his or her presentation of the item. The applicant's time is limited to a total of 10 minutes. The applicant may designate any remaining time for rebuttal to any opposition to the application. All registered speakers who wish to speak in favor of the application will then be heard and will also be limited to 10 minutes total, not each. Once the applicant has made his or her presentation to the board and the pro-applicant speakers have been heard, the chair will then call upon registered speakers who wish to speak against the application. The opposition shall likewise be limited to 10 minutes total, not each. After the public comments have been heard, the Planning Commission members will then discuss the request among themselves. Upon motion and second by the members of the commission, an action on the application may be taken to approve with conditions, approval with an alternative zoning district that is lesser than that which was advertised, or deny. These matters are sometimes hotly contested and can result in highly adversarial positions among the participants in attendance. This meeting is not the place for such discussions. Rather, this is a meeting to hear the facts and opinions as presented by all parties. Each public speaker will be called upon by the chair, and each speaker must address the commission. Any conversations between the speaker and other members of the audience not called upon by the chairman shall be deemed out of order. All speakers are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner, and any involvement of personalities or the use of abusive or profane language will not be tolerated.
All right, thank you, Ashley, for playing that for us. Before we go into the first item, I would like to ask the Planning Commission members to take this under consideration. We do have a few folks signed up to speak on each item tonight. We do have a room full of people. The chair would entertain a motion to extend public hearing speaking time from 10 minutes total to maybe 15 or 20 minutes total to allow those in the audience who have signed up an opportunity to speak. If that is something this Planning Commission will consider, like I said, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. We have 5 minutes to each side.
Okay. So I have a motion to add 5 minutes. That would make that public hearing time of 15 minutes total for each side for each item, correct? And we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Motion passed unanimously. Ashley, if you would mind, introduce item 1 for us, Annexation 2025-01.
I will, before I introduce item 1, I would like to read into the record an email that we got around, I believe it was right around 4:30 this afternoon from Commissioner Long from Newton County. and it was to the city manager and myself. The email reads, on behalf of the citizens along Highway 11 and as the District 5 Commissioner representing the area proposed for annexation and rezoning tonight, I would like to provide you with the history dating back to 2021 and the 3 prior attempts by JP Designs to establish a truck stop at Highway 11 and Interstate 20. In October 2021, after much negotiation, Newton County BOC and JP Designs reached a mutual agreement allowing for a travel center designed for families and visitors, a more suitable and compatible use for the area. This approval was granted under CUP 21-000002. I have attached the relevant documentation for your review. The community worked diligently with Mr. Crosby and JP Designs to craft a satisfactory plan that was truly a win-win for all parties. At the request of everyone involved, Newton County Superior Court issued a voluntary dismissal of the lawsuit filed by JP Designs in March 2021. With the recent requests by JP Designs, many citizens of Newton County, as well as residents of Social Circle, have expressed dissatisfaction with the current annexation and rezoning proposal. We should all pause to evaluate the long-term impact these decisions could have on all of us. Now that the data center is no longer part of the plan, the owner of the land north of I-20 has expressed willingness to work with the community on an upscale shopping and entertainment district, similar to the Avenues or Wire Park, featuring restaurants, estate housing, and family-friendly amenities. A truck stop would completely jeopardize that vision. Zoning the property as a convenience center, travel center, as previously agreed, remains the most logical and appropriate path forward. It aligns better with the character of the area and still provides Social Circle with the additional tax revenue, assuming these annexations are valid and the outcome of the current litigation. I have reviewed the planning report and I share your staff's concerns about missing and outdated data from 2020 to 2021 that was simply resubmitted. The project has significant implications for Newton County citizens, yet Social Circle could be making decisions about an area where their jurisdiction is in litigation. Moving forward with additional annexations at this stage is premature. We should all take a pause and review where to go from here. And this outlines is the timeline and conditions history of the Jones Tract. So in January 26 of 2021, the initial requests conditional use permit CUP 20-000004 and rezoning REZ 20-000008 unanimously denied by the Board of Commissioners. In February and March of 2021, after the denial, Jeremy Crosby began meeting with community leaders. He agreed to limit the project to a convenience center and to renovate the BP station across the street, which JP also owns, along with 2 other stations within a half mile. March 31st, 2021, the community sent a formal letter to JP outlining acceptable changes. At the time, JP appeared receptive, but it later became clear their response was not sincere. Additional calls and meetings were held to try to resolve the matter. March 2021, despite ongoing discussions, JP Jones filed a lawsuit against Newton County over the denial. May 25, 2021 planning meeting. JP returned to the planning board. Prior to the meeting, several of us met with Mr. Crosby and agreed on a revised concept plan for a unified convenience center. At the meeting, everyone seemed in agreement with this plan. June 13, 2021, BOC meeting. Lawsuit still pending at this point. JP presented a third, quote, revised site plan that did not resemble the concept agreed to at the May planning meeting. Neither the community nor the planning commission had seen this new plan prior to its presentation. The building side increased from 8,000 square feet to 24,500 square feet, raising serious concerns about impacts to wetlands and the overall scale of the project. JP essentially returned to their original rejected plan. The BOC voted to table the item and instructed all parties to develop a plan that complied with the brick store overlay and addressed community concerns. August 2021, a joint stipulation for additional time to respond while discussions continued. After the September planning meeting, the BOC and JP reached an agreement, likely during the executive session, on a restricted convenience center plan acceptable to all parties. August 18, 2021, the BOC formally approved the conditional use permit for a convenience store with restrictions on August 18. Planning and Zoning issued the approval letter on August 19, see attached. October 2021, all parties filed to dismiss the lawsuit. The case was closed with a voluntary dismissal without prejudice, see attached. In closing, I urge the City of Social Circle to honor the hard work, good faith, and agreements already established between the community, Newton County, and JP Designs. The citizens have been clear about what they support and what they do not want in their neighborhood. The Convenience Center plan, as approved in 2021, represents a fair compromise that protects the area's character, preserves the future opportunities for upscale development, and still generates needed tax revenue. Ignoring this history and proceeding with annexation and zoning that contradicts the agreed-upon plan risks unnecessary conflict, potential litigation, and long-term harm to the area. I respectfully ask you to carefully weigh these facts and the voices of those who will live with the results. Sincerely, Leanne M. Long. Okay, now I will introduce the first public hearing. So the first thing on our docket here is an annexation request at 370 Highway 11, also known as tax parcel 0112017. It's a proposal to develop a commercial travel center to include commercial vehicle parking under business and heavy industrial zoning. This application is being made under the provisions of the Official Code of Georgia, section 36-36-20, and is made by ordinance to be included in the corporate city limits of said municipality and made part thereof. Okay. So this annexation request is also being done in conjunction with the future land use map amendment. A request to rezone approximately 26.02 acres to business and approximately 19.93 acres to heavy industrial. A special use request that, if approved, would permit a fueling station and automotive repair services in business zoning, and a variance request to allow for the development of a fueling station within 2,500 feet of another fueling station. As shown on the proposed site plan, which is Exhibit A in y'all's packets, the portion of the property that would be zoned as business would and be utilized for the commercial travel center, along with the fueling station and automotive repair services, would be approximately plus or minus 26.02 acres of the parcel. This portion of the property that would be zoned, or the rest of the property that would be zoned heavy industrial and developed as the trucking and transportation terminal, that would be about 19.93 acres. Exhibit A also indicates what the proposed layout would look like regarding out parcels for future commercial developments as well. A development of regional impact study, or DRI, that's Exhibit B in y'all's packets, was conducted by the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission as a part of the annexation application process. As shown in Exhibit B, the developers conducted a traffic impact study back in August of 2020 that projected approximately 5,712 new daily trips from the proposed development. According to the study, and as shown in Exhibit A, the proposed development would have 2 access points along Georgia Highway 11, one for the primary use of the travel center itself, which is in that business zoning, or proposed business zoning, and another for the direct use of the trucking and transportation terminal, which would be that parking that you see in the back. The traffic study also indicated that the potential need for a traffic signal at the intersection of Highway 11 and I-20 North ramp, as well as the clearing of the tree line south of the proposed southern entrance to provide for better sight distance. Also in Exhibit B, feedback was received from GDOT as part of the DRI process, and it was indicated that the traffic study would have to be updated due to the length of time that has transpired since the one previously mentioned had been conducted. Exhibit B also includes comments from Newton County concerning previous zoning cases presented for this property regarding this development. Water and sewer services in this area are controlled by the Newton County Water and Sewer Authority. And regarding public safety, the development is 4 miles from the nearest fire station and 6 miles from the second nearest. Therefore, increasing in staffing and resources may be considered to ensure proper response times. A community meeting was held virtually on May 14th, 2025. However, aside from the applicant, there were no other attendees. A couple things to draw your attention to in the staff analysis section. Under suitability and community need, the properties requesting to be annexed are directly adjacent to properties currently within the Social Circle city limits. And the proposed annexation would address a specific need by promoting job growth in the area, as well as increasing our tax base. And staff recommends approval of the request to annex tax parcel 0112017 into the city of Social Circle.
Thank you, Ashley, for reading your staff report in there. For the record, there are criteria in which the planning commission and the mayor and council shall consider when reviewing a request for annexations, zoning changes, special use permits, and the like. The staff did provide those within the staff report with comments included. At this time, are there any questions of Ashley about the staff report? Seeing none, we'll open up the public hearing to the applicant who would like to come and speak on the annexation request. Sir, before you begin, if you'll just state your name and address for the record, and we'll go ahead and begin the timing at 15 minutes, and you may reserve time for rebuttal should you wish.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm Jeremy Crosby with JPC Design and Construction, LLC, 264 Alabama Boulevard, Jackson, Georgia. Appreciate y'all having me here tonight and opportunity to come before you and request annexation and rezoning. We've laid out a design that we think would work great for a future travel center here at this location. Highway 11 and I-20 are both heavily traveled roads, and we look for places that there's a need, and there's a need here for the traveling public to have a great place to stop off the interstate and off Highway 11 if you're traveling to Monticello or to Monroe or anywhere in between.
Mr. Crosby, I want to make this clear. This is about the annexation and the purpose of the annexation. There's time for in the agenda to discuss your project.
Yes,
but
sir.
I want to make sure we stay on the task at hand and discuss the annexation, please.
Yes, sir. We would just request, we think this is a great spot, great facility, would be a benefit for jobs and for revenue for the city of Social Circle. And that's why we're seeking to be annexed into the city, to be annexed and then rezone it for travel center.
Okay. Mr. Crosby, you have 13 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Should you wish to continue, or you may reserve that time for rebuttal. That is completely your choice.
A couple of things I want to just point out real quick.
Okay.
In our application, I know there was a couple of questions about the traffic study. In the application that we submitted to the city, there's actually a GDOT permit that was attached to the application. We've actually gotten a GDOT permit for the road work out there on Highway 11, and that approval date on that permit was June the 9th of 2023, and the bonds are still active on that GDOT permit. So GDOT has already reviewed our driveway and road plan, and that's approved and still active with GDOT. Other than that, I'll like to reserve the rest of the time for any rebuttals or any questions that y'all may have.
Okay. Time showing is 12 minutes and 47 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. I was corrected. It's 13 minutes and 16 seconds because there was a pause from my interruption. I do have a question. You brought up the GDOT permit, and since you brought this up, you opened the Pandora's box. That GDOT permit, was that for 2 entrances as was indicated from the 2021?
Can we pull up the site plan on the screen?
Or was that the 3 entrances that were shown with the proposed site plan?
The site plan, if we can blow it up there. So the GDOT, that is the GDOT drawing is in that site plan, the approved layout. So that's with the 2 driveways, and then the third, which would be the furthest south on Highway 11.
Yes, sir.
That is labeled on the GDOT permit as future driveway. It's already designed for that to come in at a future date.
So your only GDOT permit is for the 2 northernmost entrances closer to the on-ramp, correct?
Yes, but they've already approved for the third driveway on the south, the furthest south.
Okay.
So eventually you'd have 3 driveways there.
Okay. Well, just so you know, if this body makes recommendations,
yes, sir.
You realize that city council makes a determination. Part part of the determination, if it's approval, could be conditions, and one of those conditions could be an updated traffic study and signal warrant study because of the impact of additional traffic. From 2020 review was 5,700 trips per day or something like that. I'm sure it's well above that in today's time. And any time that if you get approved before you begin construction, that's going to be significantly higher than what your 2020 study showed, which was done in COVID when people were staying at home. So just want to let you know
Yes, sir.
that additional
We'd be-
conditions may be placed
Yeah,
upon
and
it.
we'd be happy to update that, and we actually just updated one in Bogart, Georgia that was done. And because they use a trip generation for a manual, we went and actually did a
physical.
traffic count, and it came out less than the manual. So it could go either way.
You could, yep,
So,
okay.
and we're happy to work with GDOT and the city on that.
Okay. I just want to make that clear, that is something that could be conditioned should you receive approval for your
Yes, sir.
project. So at this time, there's no one signed up to speak in favor of the annexation. We do have 9 who are signed up in opposition of the annexation. And again, you do have 13 minutes and 16 seconds for rebuttal. If you'd like to sit down, we'll call those who signed up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
First person that signed up was Ms. Leanne Long. Ms. Long, if you'll come up and for the record state your address, and we'll begin the timer at 15 minutes. And reminder that we're talking about the annexation. We'll get to the opportunity to talk about the project, but we're here about the
That's fine.
annexation first. Thank you.
Leanne Long, 220 River Cove Road, Social Circle, Georgia, and that's in Newton County. Thank you tonight. I see you've got some injured members over here, so I hope we didn't do anything to y'all, did we? So, but that's unique that y'all sit beside each other. But I wanted to say thank you tonight for hearing it. We were here a couple months ago, met with you guys, and I felt like that we were in such a turmoil situation for that one. This is much different. So I wanted to come back, and we didn't really speak at the last one, but I did want to come back and speak about this annexation. One of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'll have to break up my notes because of all the different segments we have here, but coming for you tonight, I want to remind you, just like the letter that she read into the records, and I appreciate that, is, whatever decisions we make here tonight are things that affect all of us. They affect Social Circle, they affect Newton County. Last time we were here, I think it was Ms. Jackson and Ms. Brown, they asked some of the best questions. They're like, is that in another county? Because you guys are in Walton County and we're in Newton County. And then you also asked, that city limit size way up here and not down by the expressway. And then also we talked about that no taxes have been paid to Social Circle for the last 16 years on the other parcel. So my point is I feel like that this is very premature for us to be adding another annexation to the mess that we might all be in. So I want to just point that out, that I think it's very premature that we're doing this. Newton County did, as you know from the letter I wrote, they did spend a lot of time working with Mr. Crosby. I feel like they were old friends now. And working with him on trying to come up with a solution. I can tell you the people in Newton County didn't want anything there. And that's one of my hardest challenges is I have to say, okay, something's going to be there. We are going to grow and we are going to have growth. We can't just keep raw land everywhere, that we have to come and we have to compromise. So that was a big compromise to do the travel center. I went out and looked at several of the JP Travel Center, when I call that convenience centers. There's a big difference between travel center, truck stop, and convenience center. So I'm talking about what Newton County actually zoned for JP Designs. It's a big difference there. So I want to make sure that we all are talking about the same thing, and we're looking for something in our community that does add value to our community. It's something that people can stop, get gas. I tell you, I've been waiting for a cup of coffee for 3.5 years for that travel center and hadn't been able to get it because there's not anywhere out there to get any coffee. So, and it was going to have a Burger King on the side of it and another anchor store on the side of it. So it would have been a great development. And I did go out and look at some of their other developments that they had, and they were definitely, a good asset to the community. So I'm asking that when you guys vote tonight, that if you do vote to annex this property, is to please try to work with Newton County so we can try at some point working together. And, honor, we don't know what will happen with the property annexations, but honor what Newton County worked so hard for, what the citizens worked so hard for. So many Social Circle people were involved with us when we were doing this. So it is near and dear, if you read a lot of comments, to the people in Social Circle too. The data center's gone. So it's gone. There's no data center. So the person that has the land on the north, if that becomes part of, even if it doesn't become part of the annexation, we're working to build a great development there that all of us can share into with entertainment, parks, restaurants, different things that our community can, and have jobs. We'll have jobs. We'll have tax dollars and we'll have jobs there. So that's something that we're looking forward to, is building a new project, kind of like the Avenue. If you've ever been to the Avenues at Webb Gin House over in Gwinnett County, and there's some on the north side of Atlanta. But to have sit-down restaurants where we can all sit down and have a steak or something. So I hope that that excites you guys, because it excites me a lot, and we've been working very closely with the landowner on the north side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is, I have a Brett Light.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. My name is Brett Light, 400 Hinton Road, Social Circle, Newton County. I know the north side of the annexation is up in the air and this and that, but we have to have a stopping line somewhere. And just not get into the south side. Let that be Newton County. We moved to a county to be a county. We didn't move out there to be part of the city. City has different sites and wants to do different things than what the county does. So there's a lot of things that can happen on Highway 11 that's not going to really impact downtown Social Circle. We all come here, we shop, we spend our money, you know, let us do that. But let that side of the business be ours and be the county. It shouldn't be back and forth each time we come here and try to solve something like the data center and this travel center. So I'm really pleading and asking y'all, please look at it and let us be the county. Let one person handle our questions or answers and get us where we need to be, and make Highway 11 a nice. We all know something's going to happen. It can either be nice or it could be trucks and stuff like that going down the road. So I appreciate the time. I don't want to take anybody else's time. Thank you very much. Please vote no.
Thank you, sir. Mike Johnson.
I live at 830 River Cove Road, Social Circle. And I moved out to where we are on River Cove Road 39 years ago. And it's pretty much stayed just like it was when we moved here. There's quite a few more people that live down that road. But the nice part of it is what I've taken personally, trading with the businesses in Social Circle. Instead of going to the big box stores, when there's somebody local that I can deal with, I'd much rather do that. And when it comes to the annexation, y'all have already seen what Newton County, your neighbor, said they thought about having a truck stop and an annex. And why you want to slap us in the face? We're your best friends. We're your neighbors. We're the ones that come trade in your city. And to slap us in the face and to take the welcome, pleasant way coming up 11 to get to Social Circle, or getting off of I-20 to come into Social Circle, to slap it with let's start by looking at a truck stop, that truck that just pulled right out in front of us. And if you will investigate, and I'm sorry, but it does include the annexation, if you'll talk with anybody in law enforcement about what goes on and what the cost for them is to protect a truck stop, and all that goes on, all the evil that goes on at truck stops. I'm not saying truckers are evil people. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying that people that want to take advantage of folks come to those places to do their business. And we won't discuss what their business is, because you can probably read between the lines and know. But we don't need a drug center close by. We don't need... Anyway, I just asked you to consider what your neighbors, Newton County, had said. We don't want this in our front yard, nor in the entrance to your beautiful city. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a Wayne, and I'm sorry. Is it Posh? Pugh? Sorry about that, Mr. Pugh.
Good evening, thank you. 75 River Cove Meadows, Social Circle, Georgia. I moved out here a long time ago, along with the rest of this great bunch of people here. As far as the annex goes, I'm not sure how you could take the annex out that far for Social Circle. We had the discussion 15 years ago where we would like to be annexed into the Social Circle city limits or not. And I guess most of us that live out here determined at that time that we were really fine with being Newton County residents. And we still want to be a Newton County resident. No offense to the Social Circle city limits. We drive through here on a daily basis. We spend money here in your town, in your city. Ace Hardware is the best Ace Hardware around here, actually. I can promise you. But as far as taking the annexation out that far, I don't know that you have the police department support, nor do you have the fire department support, especially if you're going to put a truck stop there. Talking about trucks, I own a trucking company, okay? I have about 48 trucks. I have 180 trailers. We run up and down the road every day. The environment that the exhaust and the idling, and this is just a hint for the next portion that we're going to be talking about, I guess. Just consider what you're going to do to the air right around here that we breathe, our kids breathe. It will be different, I can assure you. And I just think you need to think about that before you go annexing something into something that you might not want your kids in the future to be breathing. Because once they come here, they don't go away. They're here forever. And there is 3 other truck stops within 10 miles, 15 miles of this exit. Not necessary. It's just not necessary. We already got them parking on both our ramps, all 4 ramps, just about every morning. If you go to work early, at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, they're lined up on each side. They have no place to park, but they don't want to park at a truck stop. That's the reason they're on our ramps, because the environment's just not what most of them want to do anymore. Got a rest area out here. The thing's packed. They can't get in it. But they just don't like to stop and sit and breathe the bad air. So please take that into consideration on the next event we go to take place here tonight. But annexing, I'd appreciate it if you could reconsider. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a Cyric Wordle. I'm sorry if that's.
And I'll wait. Everybody else that spoke before has covered what I was going to bring up.
Okay, thank you. Stan Edwards.
Good evening. Stan Edwards, 280 5th Avenue. I thought I was speaking on the project itself, not the annexation.
Well, I've got your name down. I guess you must have struck through.
Yes, I did. I scratched it out.
Well, then we'll move right along. Robin Barrow.
Good evening, Robin Barrow, 429 East High Tower Trail. I bring a little different view to you guys tonight. Everybody else that has spoken to you so far lives outside a social circle, right? I live inside of city limits. I'm a business owner, right? We've had that discussion before when we were here. Make no mistake that the annexation tonight is not about social circle. They're asking you to annex a portion of property to be able to profit and upgrade their standing. They're not trying to increase the property value. They're not trying to bring anything to our community that would be useful. I think Ms. Long said it best when there is an opportunity for us to grow in an appropriate manner. And that doesn't mean that we have to blacktop and concrete over every piece of property that we bring into Social Circle, if we chose to do so. But I think the annexation is about that. It's about them seeing Social Circle as a sitting duck to get this annexed and to get it approved. It's not about, oh, we like Social Circle better. We want to bring you guys the profitability of it. We want to bring you the tax dollar. It's because Newton County told them no, and now they think that we will say yes. And so I certainly hope that you guys will take that in consideration. They're asking you to be your patsy, to be their patsy about this. There is a plan. Newton County had a great plan with them, something that we all could have benefited from, right? What's changed is that everything that we have allowed to come into Social Circle, all the trucking centers that I drive by every day on my way to my practice, right, on East Hightower Trail. This is a shoe-in for them to be able to get all of those trucks that we're now allowing in our community to go right up there and park overnight or park on the sides of our roads until that truck stock is available for them. It is not something that is going to benefit our town and our community. So I ask you again, just like all of these folks that live out there by it, I don't. I probably won't see it very often unless I get on and off I-20. But I'm telling you, it will bring nothing to our town. And part two of that, as a citizen of Social Circle, I'm tired of us being in lawsuits. There is no reason for us to take up this annexation tonight when we haven't even settled the annexation that's on the board. Why would we expose ourselves as a city of Social Circle when we don't have the assets and the revenue to fight two different lawsuits at one time? We do not have it. And you shouldn't be spending my tax dollars to do it when we don't need that piece of annexed property. I respectfully ask that you deny the annexation tonight.
Thank you. We have Doug Hawkins.
My name is Doug Hawkins. I live at 920 Lakewood Drive, Social Circle, Georgia. I don't know that you can't really address annexation without addressing the purpose of annexation. So I'm going to try to really tie mine together. And I'd have three presentations I'd like for you to include in your minutes. One being a regulation for, federal regulation for parking of hazmat trucks. The other would be a 2-foot profile of the drainage area where the proposed annexation is to occur. And let's see, the third one is a list of Georgia state listed carcinogenics in diesel exhaust. So I'd like to submit those just to be included in your minutes, so we won't have to spend the time to go through it, but it might give the council time to peruse it at some later date. One of the things I'd like to address that Ms. Long pointed out, and some of the citizens have too. In about 1999, 2000, somewhere in that area, we had an incident in North Social Circle on the Alcoa where we had a truck spill, and we had the water that came into the city contaminated. Newton County, our neighbor, and I'm getting a little dizzy here.
That's gonna be the end of the time.
Mr. Hawkins, that was all of the 15 minutes we had for public comment.
I'd like to point out that we had a spill. Newton County came to our rescue.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we don't have any more availability for speakers. We did have one other speaker signed up against the annexation request. Mr. Crosby, you had 13 minutes and 16 seconds for the rebuttal of any discussion on annexation.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to go over a couple of things that were brought up during that time. Back in 2021, everybody in this room is familiar with what's changed since then, and it's called inflation. And it drove up the cost of everything and anything that we buy, all of us. And with that being said, in order to build a travel center like this, you need as many sources of revenue and offerings to the traveling public and the professional driver to help pay for a facility of this size. And the cost since 2021 to build this facility have doubled, literally doubled. So that's what's made it necessary to make sure that we have the trucking component where we can sell diesel fuel and provide parking for that as another revenue generator to help pay for the facility. And I know everybody's familiar with what it costs to buy anything and build anything these days, because we've all experienced it. Even City of Social Circle, I'm sure your projects cost twice what they cost in 2020 and 2021 to build. So I just want to point that out, as that's one of the main reasons that we need to add the trucking, is to help pay for this facility and make sure that it will cash flow and pay the bills. Another thing, we've got 3 commitments out of QSR fast food brands, Burger King, Taco Bell, and Dunkin', which we're actually the franchisee of all 3 brands, have committed to come to this facility there at the Travel Center. And I heard one citizen was talking about sit-down restaurants and one of the things to that nature. Well, we're going to have out parcels there on Highway 11, and should sit-down restaurant be interested in it, we'd be happy to sell an out parcel to one of those.
I would like to ask the public to please keep their comments to themselves while people are speaking.
We would be more than happy to sell any of the out parcels there to a sit-down restaurant. We've got 2 of these travel centers. One is in Jackson, Georgia, and we've got people calling us all the time interested in the out parcels around it, and some of them are actually sit-down restaurants and wanting to buy out parcel. Beside us, we've got another one we just opened up in LaGrange, Georgia on July 2nd. And it brought some other businesses with it immediately. And those businesses were a brand new Peterbilt truck dealership that's going to have sell new trucks and do warranty work on Peterbilt trucks, and also a Southern Tire Mart, who is the largest commercial tire dealer and distributor in the United States, have also bought lots. So this is going to bring other things besides just a travel center and truck stop. Sit-down fast food restaurants, possibly other businesses that have wanted to come next to us and around us at these other locations, and I'm sure they'll want to be here at Social Circle, being as you've got 55,000 cars and trucks a day traveling up and down I-20. And I think some of the citizens pointed out one of the main things that we're going to offer is it's very dangerous to have these trucks parking on the on-ramps and exit ramps of the interstate and parking on the sides of the roads. When you have a well-lit, secure parking facility and fueling facility like we've proposed here, there is no reason that they should be parking on the ramps. And I know in these other jurisdictions that we're in, the local law enforcement is clearing the ramps and making them either come park at us or go to another travel center truck stop and park. But there's parking available. There's no reason for these truckers to be lining the roads, making it dangerous where you can't see around them at night and early morning on these ramps. So that's another thing we're going to offer. I know GDOT has said the state of Georgia is short about 3,000 spaces, that they see a need for 3,000 parking spaces more across the state every night to park trucks in. We're going to have 80 to 90 spaces here. We're just, offering to provide those facilities. And they're in need of facility. And everybody in this room gets deliveries via truck. The way Amazon gets everything to your house is it comes on a truck to a fulfillment center, and then from a fulfillment center to your house. So it's an industry that's got to be supported for this country to operate and for this country to run. And as far as the security and safety, we prefer to do concrete parking lots. And one reason we prefer the concrete parking lots is they light better at night with the reflection of the light to help make it feel more secure and clean and neat. And we prefer to do that instead of asphalt paving. The concrete holds up longer, looks better. But we will light it to whatever social circle will allow us to light it with their lighting requirements. We do photometric studies, and we have cameras on the entire lot, the entire building, inside and out. And also, if there's a need, we also hire local law enforcement if needed for after-hours security, and pay for that ourselves. But those are just some of the things I wanted to push back on. But I think several people pointed out that there's a major need for truck parking and truck fueling, and the professional driver needs a safe place to park, fuel, buy food, and take a break in his truck. So the traveling public does too. The mom and dads running up and down the road with their kids, and they want to be able to come in and shop, get food, use clean, nice restrooms. The restrooms in this facility will be over 4,500 square feet of restrooms. They're nice and they're clean, and they're well received by our customers at our other locations. So I just wanted to push back on a couple of those things, and if we've got any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them, and I appreciate it.
Any questions for the applicant about the annexation? All right.
Why can't you
Thank
do
you,
what
sir.
you're talking about 10 miles down the road?
Sir.
I'd love to answer
please-
that.
Please don't have any outbursts.
I'd love to
I
answer.
thought you were asking for.
No, I
We
was
don't
asking,
own property 10 miles
asking,
down the road.
sir,
We own
Mr.
46
Crosby.
acres here.
Mr. Crosby,
All right, thank you.
please have a seat. Public hearing is closed.
Can I ask a question?
No, sir, the public hearing is closed.
Thank you.
So the planning commission members, despite my best efforts to talk about the annexation, because we've got 5 public hearings to go through, annexation is step 1. Despite my best efforts to stick it to the annexation, or stick with the annexation, now's the time for our discussion. I would like to point out that I think the discussion that we heard during public hearing was well thought out. Ms. Barrow brought a different perspective as a city resident, and I have to say I don't disagree with her assessment, and that this is solely about the limitation that Newton County placed upon the request 5 years ago, and there's opportunity to go around and skirt around that. Very similar to the child not getting what he wants from one parent, going to the next parent. I think as a professional planner who has planning experience of 21 plus years, jurisdictional and zoning boundaries work best when there's a tangible divide. Tangible divide is something that you can see, and such as a river, a lake, a ridge, a mountain, street, an interstate. The question is, how does this body feel about annexing land further south away from our city core, our city center? And that's what's before us. So it's open for our discussion now.
I think it's difficult to discuss the annexation without discussing the use.
I disagree, because if the use aside, if someone's just wanting to annex just for speculative development, I want to annex this 46 acres, that's what you have to look at. Yeah, it's not close to our city center. Despite whatever happens, it could become a cookie farm, but we still have to serve it with police and fire.
Correct. Based on the information, the request is to annex for a proposal to develop a commercial travel center.
And we'll get to the discussion about the commercial travel center, but our task before us right now is the annexation, does it have merit? Is it something that Social Circle should consider of annexing this property? So, I mean,
Make sure you're using your microphone.
I was saying, you probably really don't want my opinion
yeah,
because I
that's
think
what-
it's unnecessary.
that's what we're here for. Yes, ma'am.
I don't agree with it.
Mr. Farr?
I think I-20 is a great place to stop, right? Because it's a boundary, we all see it, but there's no need in going further. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna keep going down to 278 and then, you know, past 278, just, you know, we're stretching resources too thin. And then we're attacking Newton County's wastewater and everything else on top of that. I think it's a great plan. I mean, these guys put together a good plan, but I don't think it's our business.
Ms. Brown?
I feel the way that Mr. Parr feels. Kind of like split there. I'm sorry about that, but yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mullins?
Feel the same way. I'm just trying to understand what would be the major point of adding that onto the city that far away.
Okay. Mr. Gardner?
I have a few concerns with it, one being exactly what Mr. Mullins said is, and Mr. Parr, is we're getting a lot further from the downtown city limits. Not really downtown, just city limits, period. But also, and I know the annexation is one piece and everything else is, but I said earlier, talking about the proposal with the annexation is, I don't think this is a necessary proposal to warrant the annexation. I don't see anything in it that says we've got to have it. I don't see it providing any benefit over and above the obvious to having it as part of social circle. But I do lean back towards what the other members said. It's getting on out there a little bit.
Okay. Mr. Gates?
I agree solely with everybody else and saying no. I mean, it's way outside the city limits, so circle. Shouldn't have nothing to do with it.
Okay.
I have a comment though.
Yes, ma'am.
I travel out by the hub and going to Minnesota a lot. There's a lot of land down there. Put it out there. I don't have a problem with the truck stop, but I'm gonna leave social circle.
Please, public, keep your comments to yourself. We are trying to conduct business.
And then back in Newton County, that don't make no sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if there's no other discussion, the chair will entertain a motion.
A motion we deny the annex.
I second the motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Parr and a second by Mr. Gaither and Ms. Jackson. All those in favor of the motion to recommend denial of the annexation, please signify by raising your hand. All right, that motion passed unanimous. We do have a next item on the agenda is a future land use map amendment for the same property. Ashley, would you introduce that for us, please?
So the future land use map amendment is just a bit of housekeeping that we have to do with annexations. It allows us to amend the future land use map to include this property. The request was to bring this in as gateway interchange, which would match the intent of the request. Which would allow for the business rezone, the heavy industrial, and kind of the uses that were covered under the application.
All right. So at this time, we don't have anyone who would like to speak in favor of the future land use map amendment, but we do have 3 people signed up to speak in opposition. Before I call those, I'd like to call the applicant up if he'd like to give. He has 15 minutes to talk about the future land use map amendment.
Appreciate you having me again. I just asked that we'd follow the staff report and recommended approval on the future land use map change.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, on the future land use map discussion, those that would like to speak in opposition are Mike Johnson. And Mr. Johnson, let's focus it to the future land use, if you can, please.
Do my best. 830 River Cove Road, Social Circle.
Thank you.
I hope it's a moot point, because if we don't annex it in, it doesn't matter how we zone it or how we break it up or what restrictions we put on it. So I'm not sure there's a whole lot of reason to talk against the FLUM, because if we're not going to recommend it to the council, hopefully the council feels the same way. But putting restrictions on it, look, I really don't. I know it was presented to us as compassionate, but that we need this, and the folks driving up and down the road in trucks need this. But this is not about us. This is about the Jones making more money. And I'm not sympathetic with their need for more money. And so how we zone this, even if it is for a travel center, I guess we've already gone down that road, so that road's already there. And that pavement's already there with the bright lights. But I just wish that we wouldn't have anything other than what we've already seemingly agreed to. And hopefully they'll decide that, no, they want the truck stop, so they'll go somewhere else. And the Jones can go to another county and find a piece of property they like. But thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Pugh. Okay. I'm going to need your help.
I have an address of 198 Dogwood. It's the name is hard to read. I think the address is 198 Dogwood. Am I reading that right?
It looks like East Dogwood. Who lives on Dogwood? Okay, did you sign up? You just signed a paper.
Oh, okay.
Great. Thank you, sir. All right. Mr. Crosby, there was no other speakers to speak against. You have 14 minutes and 49 seconds if you'd like for rebuttal. Okay. We'll close the public hearing on the future land use map. Not sure there's much discussion on this. Our recommendation is for the city council not to consider the annexation. There's not much need for a future land use map amendment. Kind of hard for us to recommend a future land use if we don't recommend the annexation, right? So if there's no one feels a need to speak on the future land use, Chair, entertain a motion.
Can we speak into the microphones? I'm sorry.
I would make the motion to recommend denial of changing the future land use map.
And I second it.
I have a motion made by Mr. Gardner, second made by Ms. Brown. No other discussions. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Motion passed unanimous. Next item is the rezoning request. And you got part of the property to be rezoned to business and part of the property rezoned to ag, or heavy industrial, excuse me.
Okay, so I won't bore you with going over the site plan again. The proposed rezone of this property is to allow for the development of a commercial travel center as well as a trucking and transportation terminal. If approved, approximately 26.02 acres of the property would be rezoned from agricultural to business, which would be utilized for the travel center itself and other future commercial development. And approximately 19.93 acres would be rezoned to heavy industrial to be used for the trucking and transportation terminal. So as you can see on your screens, the business would be located kind of fronting along Highway 11, and the heavy industrial would be in the rear of the property and along the exit ramp. Which, according to the site plan, is where the majority of the parking would be. as shown on the proposed site plan Exhibit A. Okay, well, I just went over that. So just a few things to point out in the staff analysis section. Under suitability and community need, the proposed rezone would address a specific need by increasing the tax base and bringing job growth. Also, the proposed development would address a regional need, as there's currently no trucking and transportation terminals this side of Atlanta prior to the Highway 83 Madison exit. Under compatibility, the property, we wanted to point out that the property would need to be subdivided prior to submission of review of any plans due to the applicant's request for the split zoning. Under adequate public services, we did want to draw attention that there do appear to be adequate schools, parks, and emergency facilities for the proposed development. However, stormwater drainage would be assessed during the plan review phase, and gas services, if needed, can be ran to the development at the cost of the developer. Water and sewer services belong to Newton County Water and Sewer Authority. Also, as previously mentioned, the location of the development as well as distance from available public safety services could require the consideration of additional staffing and resources to properly serve those areas. So staff's recommendation is approval of the request to rezone plus or minus 26.02 acres of tax parcel 0112-017 from agricultural to business, and plus or minus 19.93 acres of the same parcel to heavy industrial, with the following conditions. The property must be subdivided prior to submittal of any development plans. The developer shall comply with all GDOT requirements, including but not limited to impervious surface setbacks, deceleration lanes, and number and location of entrances/exits from the subject property. And the commercial travel center itself shall be constructed with four-sided brick.
Okay. So on the rezoning request, Mr. Crosby.
Thank you. Just wanted the record to reflect that we don't have any issues and would be happy to follow staff's recommendations. Property be subdivided, comply with any GDOT requirements, and the commercial travel center be constructed with four sides brick. We don't have any issue with those and be happy to do it. So just want the record to reflect that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. We do not have anyone who would like to speak in favor of the rezoning request, but we do have 4 speakers that would like to speak in opposition. Mr. Brett Light.
Good evening again. Thank you for having me. This is really on truck stop and everything we're speaking on this. So, name's Brett Light, 400 Hinton Road, Social Circle, Newton County. My neighbors and myself will be affected by allowing a truck stop. The people in Newton County have already spoken. We do not want a truck stop. Why can't they look at property around Highway 83 or Siloam, where we already have 4 truck stops, not 3, because you're missing the one in Siloam. The property in the area could attract retail restaurants and is more welcome to all of us in the area. Concerns includes house prices, desired buyers can be declined and impact our citizens. The crime will go up as stated in articles on truck stops, prostitution, drugs, theft. Social Circle, are you going to provide police presence and protection force is the question. Traffic and road conditions will get worse. The noise of the trucks slowing down with engine brakes and getting back on the interstate at highway speeds we'll be able to hear it, and it'll be annoying for the area and the residents. With this being an interstate intersection, there'll be a lot of trucks turning in front of vehicles causing accidents. This is too much congestion between trucks and cars going from stop to 45 miles an hour. Left-hand turns will increase from I-20 westbound to Highway 11 south. Also Highway 11 north to I-20 west. And now they add left turns into the truck stops. If the solution, as I heard, is to put a traffic light on the I-20 bridge, this will only a few trucks will be able to make the traffic light on green. And the cars behind them must be careful, because when you come up to the light and it changes, the height of the trailer, you can't see that light changed, and it can cause issues. If you look at Hazelbrand Road and Alcovey Road, they both are 6 lanes at the I-20 intersection. 2 left lanes and 2 forward lanes to help traffic flow, and there's no truck stops. Are you putting in a new bridge? GDOT says there's enough, is there enough room? It's gonna hinder us. So I hope you vote for the citizens on this. We really want nice retail and restaurants and just really have a nice area and not a truck stop. You all impact a lot of people on your decision. Please stay with the citizens and not with the company that wants more revenue. We ask you please, for a no vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Mike Johnson. Dang, how much time is that? My clock didn't start.
I have 12:41.
Okay.
I'll be very brief. I want to tip my hat to you guys as a commission and as individuals to hearing us and voting not to recommend annexation. Because we already know what Newton County is willing to do. And you do as well. It's already been put on the table. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Stan Edwards. I got it right this time. You didn't mark your name out, right?
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you this board and this panel for, this is not an easy thing to do, I know, and nobody's here to intimidate or bully, because I would absolutely resent that sitting in your seat. And I sit on the Board of Commissioners in Newton County. This project would be in my district. Let me give you a little history. Commissioner Long gave you a chronology of a lot of technicalities. So after we had rejected Mr. Jones or JP Petroleum's initial request for 24-hour parking, Ms. Long mentioned the fact that we all got together and talked to Mr. Jones. And in fact, Mr. Jones and I met on the second floor of the historic courthouse in Newton County. He had a new project that did not include 24-hour truck parking. And he and I hammered that, looked at that, hammered it out. The details had already been done. But we agreed to that, stood up, shook hands, and walked out. So, here we are 4 years later, and he sees an opening to get what he wants. Now, keep in mind, the citizens of Newton County spoke loudly at our meetings. And then the commissioners, the government of Newton County, said no to a 24-hour truck stop. And then we hammered out something that Mr. Jones agreed to. In principle, I assumed. I believe that's what a handshake means. So, and the gentleman mentioned that 4 years of inflation have taken place since then. Well, if you did a traffic study a year and a half later, you didn't wait 4 years. You didn't see what 4 years of inflation was. You might have seen what a year and a half's inflation was. But you got with the DOT less than a year and a half later. So to say inflation has caused problems on truckers, a year and a half's worth of data is not enough to understand that. So he also mentioned needs, right? So we have 3 truck stops 10 miles down the road. And if you've ever spoken to the sheriff in Morgan County, and I have, then they're trouble. They are, he has to constantly send people out there, not only the sheriff, but I think 2 of the 3 are in the city limits. So he has to send the city of Madison. The city of Madison has to send resources out there to be used, right? So I live in Mansfield, which is 6 miles south, or a little over 6 miles south. And while the truck traffic, I know you've seen in Social Circle on your bypass, you've seen the increase in truck traffic of the truckers leaving Macon and using Highway 11 to make it to 85 on the other side of Winder. So you can imagine what's going to take place now if we have a truck stop in that particular area. All right, so, or in our area. Our citizens have spoken loudly. Our Board of Commissioners has spoken loudly. We appreciate the votes you've taken thus far tonight, or the recommendations you're going to make the Social Circle City Council. We really do. But I just want everyone to know, when an organization or a man or an organization hears a county say no, as loud as they can say it, the government of that county and the people of that county, and he still opts to end around and get around, it's all about the dollars. They're not trying to help anybody, not a soul, except their billfolds. And I can go much, much further on that, but I won't. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything you guys do. I really do. I sit in a similar scenario all the time, and it's not always fun. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. next up, we have Carlton Rice.
Thank you. My name is Carlton Rice. I live at 790 Clover Drive. I voted to speak against, but in all honesty, I'm kind of middle of the fence. I hope Jones Petroleum makes as much money as they can and you meet or exceed all financial goals in this fiscal year and future. I am speaking against, the portion I speak against the rezoning is what I looked at as concerns in the application. Tonight's packet is page 115, which is under the review of standards. Paragraph B, subparagraph 2. The question is the proposed use compatible with the present rezoning pattern and conforming uses of nearby property and the character? And one of the statements in there, it says, the use will keep semi-traffic away from the downtown area. I haven't seen that we have one. If we do not have a problem of downtown traffic semis, then I feel like the rezoning request is solving a problem we don't have. So therefore, it does not have the merit we need to look for it. So if we do not have a semi-traffic problem in downtown area, that subparagraph B2 does not meet the need. Also for subparagraph B3 on page 116, it says there is a need for semi-truck fueling and parking in this area. All for making money, all for tax revenue. What I missed in this was the proof of the need for that. There's some type of study that showed that we have a need for that type of business in this area. So I speak to those two things that I feel like are discrepancies in the rezoning request that just do not support the approval, and that's why I speak against it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My timer go. All right, at this time, we do not have anyone else that signed up to speak against. Mr. Crosby, you have 14 minutes and 30 seconds for rebuttal. Okay. Well, Planning Commission members, likewise with the future land use, we can't recommend a zoning change on a property that's not in our jurisdiction. And our recommendation was not to consider this part of our jurisdiction. Unless anybody else wants to say anything about the rezoning request, the chair will entertain a motion. Okay. We have a motion to deny by Mr. Gaither and seconded by Ms. Jackson. If no other discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passed unanimous. Fourth item is a special use permit for request to allow a fueling station and automotive repair center under the business zoning district. Ashley, would you introduce this?
So So the special use request is to allow for a fueling station and automotive repair services as part of a proposed commercial travel center within the business zoning district. As outlined in section 2.3.1 of the city's Unified Development Code, that's our permitted use table. Fueling stations and automotive repair services are only allowed in the business zoning districts by way of special use approval. So that's why you're seeing this. Just a couple things to point out. Under the staff analysis, under question 3, can the specific use standards for the special use, if any, as provided in Article 3 use standards be achieved? The specific use standards for fueling stations and automotive repair services are covered under section 3.3.13 of the city's UDC. Section 3.3.13A outlines the requirements for a fueling station and defines it as retail sales of vehicle fuels for personal vehicles other than fleet fueling facilities and truck stops, which are regulated as industrial services uses. Along with this definition, there are a list of conditions associated with this use, one of which includes being no closer than 2,500 feet from another fueling station. This condition is the only one that is not met as a proposed project. However, the applicant is requesting a variance from that section of code. Section 3.3.14 .13E outlines and defines minor automotive repair services as the repairing, installation, or maintaining of mechanical components of automobiles, trucks, vans, trailers, or motorcycles, or that wash, clean, or otherwise protect the exterior or interior surfaces of the vehicles. The proposed development / concept appears to fall within the parameters outlined in this section of the UDC for minor automotive services.
Thank you.
And, sorry, one more. Staff recommends approval of the request for special use to allow for a fueling station and automotive repair services under the business zoning as part of the proposed commercial travel center at 370 Highway 11, also known as tax parcel 0112-017, with the following conditions. Number one, underground fuel tanks shall meet all applicable requirements set by Georgia DNR and the Environmental Protection Division. Number two, there shall be no above ground fuel tanks. And number three, if there are any electric vehicle charging stations located on the property, there must be adequate signage indicating such and an emergency shutoff as well.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. Mr. Crosby.
Yes, sir. We appreciate the staff's analysis on this, and we have no problem with any of the staff recommendations as far as underground fuel tanks meeting all Georgia Department of Natural Resource and EPD requirements. That's a given we have to do every day. No above ground fuel tanks. We have no issue with that. And if there were any electric vehicle charging stations, we'd have no problem with following these requirements. So we have no problem with staff's recommendations on any of these.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we don't have anyone signed up to speak in favor, but we do have a couple against. Mr. Brett Light.
I appreciate it, Board, but I think I've said enough.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Johnson.
He's probably said enough as well. He's outside.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, we'll close the public hearing. And Mr. Crosby, you have 14 minutes and 31 seconds for rebuttal. All right, thank you. Okay, Planning Commission members. On this request for a special use permit, again, hard for us to recommend one way or another if the property we don't recommend to be in the city. So, anyone want to put out a motion?
Motion to recommend to deny based on the idea that we recommend not annexing.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Gardner, seconded by Ms. Brown. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Motion passed unanimous. So the last item is a variance request from section 3.3.13.A.1. I just had to say all of that. Okay, Ashley, go ahead.
Yes, it is a mouthful. The applicant has requested a variance that would allow for the development. Oh, might help if I give you guys something to look at, huh? The applicant has requested a variance that would allow for the development of a fueling station less than 2,500 feet of another fueling station, which would not meet the supplemental standards for fueling station as outlined in section 3.3.13.8.1 of the city's UDC. As of the date of this request, there is currently another fueling station adjacent to this property that would be approximately 1,368 feet away from the proposed travel center as measured according to the previously mentioned section of the UDC. Both the existing fueling station and the proposed development, however, currently have the same owner, and the intent is to upgrade or remodel the existing fueling station to better serve the anticipated increase in motor vehicle travelers. Just a couple things to point out in the staff analysis. Under general consistency, we did want to point out that the variance does not appear to be consistent with the intent of the UDC as it specifically prohibits fueling stations within a certain distance of other fueling stations. However, it does not appear to be harmful for the public health, safety, or welfare of the city or their citizens. Under special conditions, there appear to be no special conditions or circumstances specific to the land, buildings, or structures, but because of the like ownership, they're the ones putting in the request, so it does kind of have some extenuating circumstances since it is like ownership. There have been similar variances given in the past. There are currently no other fueling stations inside the city limits with such a close proximity to each other, but again, it should be noted that the owner of the existing fueling station and the proposed development are the same owner. Therefore, if approved, the owner is okay with how the current business may be affected by the proposed development. Staff recommends approval of the request for a variance from that section of the UDC to allow for a fueling station to be located within that range with the following conditions. Underground fuel tanks need to meet all DNR and EPD requirements, and there shall be no above ground fuel tanks. And again, if any electric vehicle charging stations are located on the property, there's got to be adequate signage indicating such and an emergency shutoff.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Crosby.
We agree with staff's analysis on this also, and have no problem with their recommendations. One of our plans had been, should we have the opportunity to move forward on the travel center, is we've got to bring sewer up to Highway 11 and then run parallel. We work with Newton County Water and Sewer, and we would bring sanitary sewer under Highway 11 to that existing facility. It's on a septic system now, and it's taxed pretty good with just the folks using those restrooms now, getting on and off the interstate. So that was one of the things we looking for, is run sewer up there with this project, get that on sewer, and then do an upgrade or remodel on that existing store there. But we have no problem with the staff recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we don't have anyone signed up to speak in favor, but we do have a couple to speak in opposition. Mr. Brett Light.
I don't think I signed up. I said enough, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson didn't come back? Okay. Well, we'll close the public hearing. Sounds like it. All right, we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Crosby, you had 14 minutes remaining. Okay, thank you. Okay, members. How do you feel about the request of the variance? Kind of goes the same way the last times, right? So,
A motion to deny due to the fact that annexation was also denied.
okay.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to recommend denial. No other discussion. All those in favor of the recommendation, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Motion passed unanimous. All right, Ashley. That concludes the portion of our meeting for public hearings. Do we have any unfinished business?
There is no unfinished business. They're moving on to new business too. There's not really any new business. Just want to remind you guys, we do have a meeting on Tuesday, August 26, 2025. I believe there will be quite a few cases on there similar to this, where there's some annexation requests over on the Walton County side. Cody will be running that meeting for me because I will be out at that point. So Cody will take over the next couple months of meetings after that.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay. There's no other items on the agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to.
Could you share with us when the city council meeting is that this will be heard at?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. City Council will take these items up at their meeting August 19th, 6 p.m. in this room right here. Yeah, August 19th, right? Yeah. Yep. Yep, all right. We have a motion to deny by Mr. Gardner.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh. Thank you. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Gardner. We have a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Adolphus. Mr. Parr. Unanimous. John.